go into, you can talk more about what the firmament is,
Yes.
why, or actually, I think we should go back up. Let's talk about what timeline did the Tartaria exist, what part of the world was located, if there was like, what I
Of course.
understand, there's been flip-flops back and forth.
Of course. Let me get to the origin of the Torture and their timeline and what happened to their culture and why do you see the evolution of the territories. I forgot it. My tongue is talking. Can you help me say the word again, please? I might be tongue losing the memory. Tartaria. Okay. Let's go ahead and look at the dimensional existence. The fourth dimensional Tartaria culture, they are about 100 feet. They're 100 feet, so therefore the fifth dimensional is more like they are 300 feet tall. So this is from the perspective, and they are gigantic. So meet one of them, if they step on you, it's over, you know. That's why you have to separate that's why the purpose of the ice wall between our realm and the Tartaria realm, the original human. And then you have the 30 feet. So the ice wall basically help to separate the kingdom. And that's why they're protective, military protection. So you want to go to Tartaria, simple. Go toward the South Pole or the North Pole, there's an entrance. When you look at it, it looks like, oh, there's a mountain, but when you go far enough, there is a water. You've been shifting into a reality, a higher plane of existence. And then you enter what we call the fourth density of Torture. Then you see people, human beings 30 feet tall. And if you you keep walking, you go to another section, you find that technology is higher than us, you enter what we call the fifth plane of Torturia realm of continental control, which you hit another ice walls, and there is what we call, you walk into a field where you enter the higher plane, and then you would meet Tartarian that is 300 feet tall, which is the original human. They want to control the fourth Tartaria, and then finally they want to, put us in check so we can basically follow what they want. And then since the ancient, the fifth dimensional Tartarian race is in cahoot with original controller race, which is totally royal bloodline, royal, just asshole. And they don't want to share they don't want to share any territory with the fourth dimension Tartaria at all, because they believe they are the royal blood, the royal conscience, the origin. It's more like it's a battle of royalty, and pretty much is what's going on. And their controller is another, ancient faction of their race. So advanced.
Are those the custodians?
Custodian, correct. The original custodian. And the timeline, depending on the fourth dimension, they left our existence since from my understanding, it's like 1840 or 1825, roughly take. So other observer they might have a different version, but from 1825, they did something called reset, and they left, and they just gone, and they left only the architecture for us to study. So yes, they utilize flying saucers and zero-point energy, but the fifth dimensional Tartaria race, they basically has nothing to do with our realm, and they pretty much focus on maintaining their royalty, control continental and the ice wall of Tartaria. So we dealing with gigantic human beings. Even the name itself is kind of scary, but also amazing at the same time, that we are basically their genetic descendant. And the reason we basically not having the same height, because of consciousness has been our genetic has been tampered with, and we have evolved into not evolved, but our consciousness have lowered it into the stage of what we could right now. If our consciousness become high, our physical structure will grow as well. So right now, the only way to do that is to repair the environment, put the Fairmont back in, which is the ancient Hyperborean culture 2 million years ago. Not 2 million, but 20 million years ago, decided they were told by Gaia to build what we call a Fairmont. A Fairmont is an ice crystal. around the planet, double layer. The ice crystal is at 15 to 18,000 feet, and the other layer is at 35 to 38,000 feet. And then the pyramid around the world, the gigantic one in the where the ley line grid point is, when it cross section, the pyramid would, when the Earth moved to higher plane, it began to emit paler light. And the pyramid is not only just on Earth, this construct is also on the moon, also inside in the Earth. So you have a double pyramid system that lay down like an isocadedecahedron, so the Earth is basically artificial. But when it moved to higher plane, that's when you see the light come up, become visible to the naked eye, where it hold the sky shield or the firmament. But since there was the war between Atlantean and Lemuria, the Atlantean destroyed a lot of this pyramid, and it bring down the firmament, which crashed down and create what you call the flood, of the time. So it was around the last firmament to stand 25,000 years ago was the fall of Lemuria, and then around 15,000 years ago was the fall of Atlantean. Its civilization was destroyed during the war between Atlantean, between Egypt and Atlantean with the Rama civilization, King Rama, and the Ioni and the Yu civilization in Asia. This is where the last Toteri race fought each other, find out who was the dominatory, who became planetary controller on the surface plane. While the inner Toteri, the inner Earth Toteri, they have their own war going on between the custodian with the custodian and the ancient royal bloodline of the first Totori is in cahoot fighting the later generation of the Totori, the 100 feet and the 30 feet. And finally they left Orem in the year 1824 or 25, but they make sure they reset the humanity conscious, so we won't remember them or their history, or they just blink out existence, and all their trace of their history was being dug up and covered by the Mrs. Totem Society, the one that control history. I'm not sure how it's said right, but
Smithsonian.
Smith.
Can you tell us what kind of artifacts did the Smithsonian find?
Basically, the Smithsonian Society, they found gigantic human being that was 30 feet tall, 60 feet tall, even 200, 300 feet tall, but they covered it up. They just find a lot of giant human beings everywhere in America, South America, elongated giant, even the native Indian. They found the Indian around 15, 20 feet tall, 30, and they just destroy the evidence, and that's their job, to go and find Totoria Society and artifact and leftover technology and cover it up and put it, find skeleton of giant, and they put it into the lake of buttered up treatment that there was to cover up the history and the truth, so to keep people ignorant by not knowing the true history. And then they found artifact, like I said, church and stuff that was already been built. So the church was never been built. It's a technology that vibrated, raised, opened the portal, also raised consciousness. So that was built by Totoria. All the church was already here. America was already been built before America's been built.
Okay, so you mean like the cathedrals in Europe, or
both in the United States, even Washington D.C. that was already been built, but then you just tweak the history when it got reset.
Can you tell us what, say, New York, Manhattan would have looked like maybe at the time of Columbus arriving in the New World, or North America?
Well, when the Columbus that has been arrived, they arrived into a modern city that was run by gigantic people. The history is not what you think.
Describe the structures.
The structure is huge, like high-tech resonant building, high-tech resonant cathedral and church with all them steeples. Those are resonant system that work with the ley line and the light and the vibration to raise a person's consciousness, to restore them. Just act like a pyramid structure, but with an architecture personified design. And that's what when the people of Europe came, they found that. And then they studied under this giant. And then when they started to do the reset, well, they went back to because they have high technology, they're able to go back to they're in the rim and continue to exist. You know, that's another story. We can talk about that the next time in reality. But anyway, when they left, the normal human being or the territorial fifth generation, which is the human being, decided to claim their technology, claim their heritage, claim what to emulate how the totalitarian society was set up. So that's why you get high technologies, reverse engineering all this totalitarian discovery and scientists all kind. That's why the book is so big. They have that in the Vatican and all over the world. They have big books and technology that was so highly advanced, but it's huge.
That's what they're hiding in the Vatican. The biggest thing they're hiding in the Vatican.
They hiding the gigantic book of knowledge. It's made of metal, that is living metal. They can touch it, it won't break. You scratch it, heal itself. So that's why you find it similar to Roswell metal. You know.
Can you comment about, you said these Tartarian cities, this technology, when the reset happened in 1820s, did that technology disappear from North America?
No, it was inherited.
Yeah.
They in 1820, 25, when the reset happened, the Tartarians just evacuated the whole 9 yards and just went to in the earth, went to whatever happened. They got spooked because of the custodian war, and they left back into the safety zone. Therefore, they left all their building, their technology, their device, the free energy, their craft. They took what they can and they just went straight back to a safe zone because of the war between the Tartarian race and the custodian race, the controller. And that's what caused the whole evacuation. And so next thing, the whole idea is the regular human being begin to take their place and trying to cover up the history. So therefore, they know that the Tartarian race will come back, the original ancestor will come back. That's why they don't want people to discover that, because that will cause chaos and panic, and this generation cannot handle real history, original history of the human race.
So, can you describe how big these Tartarian cities were? Because
they are
hold on. Because like in North America, how come? I mean, the structures when the colonists got here, 1700s, 1600s, were the structures still around?
Yes, the structures still around. Some of them is buried, some of them been dug up, but majority is still around. But a lot of them, like for example, 60% is still around, 40% has been buried. Because due to the war between the custodian, they use a nuclear weapon.
Okay, can you give us an example of some structures that you think might be that were already here when Columbus got here that still exist today?
Like for example, the Washington D.C. that was already here, like similar built to design like Rome. The Rome was Tartarian. It was there. Remember back in the day where the Greece and Roman look at the pillars so big, everything's so huge, because that was land a home of the giant. And that's why you see the Egyptian having gigantic human being carrying stone, like carrying elephant. You see sample of such reality, the imprint. For example, the Great Pyramid is built by, not built, but maintained by the Tartarian civilization, but built by the Hyperborean civilization.
Can you comment about the Chicago fire in 1871? Was that?
That was part of the
reset.
reset.
Full sense.
That was part of the
the Great Fire?
The Great Fire.
Hold on. Say that in your own words.
The Great Fire in Chicago was part of the Great Reset for the third time, because on the Sunday they want to get rid of the evidence of Tartaria. Some of the World Fair where they show off the different buildings. That was built by the Tartaria civilization, and basically they want to get rid of it, so they set it on fire because it was not able to be destroyed or hurt. It was just designed. Whole thing is so advanced. It was not of their time, and they decided to destroy to cover up, to create a cover story, because they get rid of history. So it's easy for people to control the people.
Can you ask? I don't know who you're communicating with, but can you ask them what was in that area that burned in Chicago?
That was the artifact of the Tartarian civilization, their buildings, some of their architecture, and advanced 0 point entered a portal, interdimensional portal, and also they couldn't move it, so they were not. It was too auspicious, so they decided to destroy some of the leftover there in order for preventing the different facet government to basically have control of the technology, because they couldn't take it apart or remove it due to the end-to-end structure of the Torah civilization. All this building, it is networked with each other, and also the Earth, when they find out the Earth is basically is an advanced technology. I mean, the Earth is an artificial planet. Then they realize that, okay, we got to get rid of this portal that take people, to the timeline where they see what we call the history of the human, that we are basically in the land of the giant, and then this where the this portal take you to the land of the giant, which is the end of. And that's why they have to destroy the structure, because it's a living circuitry. The structure itself is a living circuitry.
Did the early colonists before the reset of 1825, did they have, for instance, free energy that could pull their carts? Because they show horses and it's supposed to be primitive. Can you comment about that?
Yes, I can.
Use your in a full sense, because I want to edit myself out of that.
Okay. The whole thing is a Tartaria. You gotta understand, the giant and the regular human, we are more like the limited consciousness human being, and the Tartaria are more fully conscious, so they're more fully advanced. And as for the card, you see, though you're going to see evidence where you see human being held by a giant, human being giving a gift like some kind of technology by the giant, and then suddenly you see the giant disappear. And what happened to the giant, and what happened to the gift of technological events? Well, the regular human took that knowledge and rebuilt it in a smaller form for their use. But the original technology, they have to put it to the side, like say put it in the Vatican, and the card and stuff is the limited human being don't know how to use the advanced technology of the authoritarian race, so they got to go with what they know until someone that they're academia, they're intelligent, able to reverse engineer the principle and create a form where smaller people can understand.
So going
and
back
the free energy.
Wait, hold on. So going back to that question, can you comment?
So I want to touch on Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla did not invent anything. He just copied a totalitarian civilization technological advancement. So I want to put that on record. Nikola Tesla did not invent anything. He just copied it. That was his secret.
Go back to before 1825. Did the early settlers have free energy to move their carts? Can you comment into that?
Yes. In the 1825, the early settlers do have free energy technology given to them by the Tartaria, and they're able to have a floating device that this is stuff that you don't see in history, but you will hear near piece about it when before the reset, people had floating technology they could put on a stone, it would start to levitate. It's this big. They put it on a stone or a rock, it would levitate. It would create a vibrational field, a magnetic field around the stone or that wood, and it's very portable. And they could put it on the cart, and anything is heavy, they can put it on the cart, it will reduce the weight of that particular object.
So after the reset, can you comment what happened to the answer full sentence?
All that technology had been after the reset of 1825, all the technology was being consecrated and history was being gobbled up, and so the new controller took over, and they decided, and that's why the Tartarian ran away, because of the custodian infiltrated the surface territory and began to blast and set on fire both human structure, including the Tartarian of the Middle Empire. That's why they escaped, because the custodian catch up with them. That's what caused the reset. So the custodians did not want to kill the human. They were not a threat to them. So therefore, they basically don't want to do anything to us because we are not a threat. And custodian decided to fight the old Tartaria and chase them down, and so that's why they flee and return to end the earth to a safe zone. And that's on record. So all the technology, the custodian decided to go ahead and create an organization to rewrite the history, to do cover story, and to take any advanced technology and put it into a vote until they want us to. They might give a nugget or two to reverse engineer, but they do not give us too much until we discover it ourselves.
Yeah, I have a quick question here.
Yes.
So I just looked it up. The photograph was invented in 1826. but you said the reset was around 1824-25. So
Yes.
did they have photographs before that, and all that was destroyed? And can you answer that in full sentence? And
The photograph was already been invented. It's already been invented by the Tautian civilization. They give it to human being. They to reverse engineer, to duplicate it in a small. They give them an actual technology they can rebuild, but in a small way. And that was back. Photograph technology has been invented already. Even in the 1600s, they have photograph technology. And so now you get to see history is not what you think. History is all fake. It's already written.
So-
But not to benefit you, but to benefit the controller, the custodian, you know.
So the French inventor Joseph Niepce didn't really invent the first photograph in
No,
1826.
he just copied, just like Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla did not invent anything. He just copied the totalitarian technological advancement that they have in an archive.
Can you, what are you connected to? Where are you getting this information from?
Basically, I'm from the future.
Uh,
I have all the history of everything.
Can you access the database and look up, is there a connection to St. Petersburg, Florida to St. Petersburg, Russia? Is that Tartarian connection there?
Everything is connected to Tartaria. Tartaria is several million years of history, and I want to be on record that the Earth is an artificial planet, but it exists in multiple planes. So, and people who look at flat Earth, the Earth is just two-dimensional perception of it, but therefore the third dimension again become a hologram, and the fourth, fifth dimension is actually an artificial planet, a robot. So, the Tartaria has a lot to do with civilization and technological advancement.
Can you comment and answer a full sentence? What was in St. Petersburg, Florida before 1825? Reset. What did it look like? Wait, hold on. Answer that full sentence.
They found Atlanteum.
What are you gonna say in St. Petersburg, Florida before 1825?
Saint Petersburg, I can't even say it.
St. Petersburg.
Petersburg in 1845,
25.
1825, before the
Go
reset.
ahead and say it again.
It's
Sorry. St. Petersburg. Petersburg.
Saint Petersburg before 1825. Before the reset, it was the land of the giant known as Atlanteum. Florida is part of Atlantis, and that's why there was a lot of giant people. There was pyramid there. There was ancient, strange building architecture built similar to Rome right there in where Florida is. And now some of that building has been destroyed, been removed from the custodian and their disciple, these the people who make historical data, they keep history of everything. I can't even say the name. It's kind of like tongue twister for my Asian tongue. That's so Smasian or something like that, you know. To make the long story short, it's quite interesting how history has so many cover up right now, and therefore you don't have the complete picture of how totalitarian civilization is the foundation of our civilization. So there's no inventing of technology, just a copy of already existed from the totalitarian civilization that they have archived the technology. So everything you see from camera to video camera to computer to one computer is just a copy, a reproduction of this gigantic civilization that exists before our civilization.
Okay. So here's a question.
Okay.
No, you just stay put. Who is it? Can somebody get Carlos, please? So the Timicon tribe is based in eastern Florida, and they're a group of giants. Hey, they can come in. They can come in.
Okay.
What's up?
It's housekeeping.
Oh, you got the towels? What do
De
you-
toallas.
you gonna clean?
Okay. Anything
I think
else?
it's 30 minutes now.
Gracias.
Say for the next time.
Hello,
You
hi.
get tired?
Yeah, my brain is like overloading, but
I want to push you a little bit. Why does the Devil's Tower in Wyoming look like a giant tree stopping? Can you comment about that in full sentence?
because that is a tree stopping. It's been petrified by the custodian of the time, and they want to get rid of evidence that they ever been here. So that's why you see a lot of the mountain in form of tree or even in a dead giant, because that is a real living being that has been turned into stone by the custodian weaponry. And the earth is not one thing, the earth is quite huge. And now you find a great wall of ice, basically. You go to Arctic or Antarctica, you will find a great wall. Past there, you find a land of a giant. Okay,
How big did that tree get?
oh my God, it's 30 mile
But
growing up.
up that high, it's really cold in the air.
But if you go up high, you find into zone, what we call the firmament, where it's actually the earth become larger. Remember, the earth is it's a planet that exists in multi-plane or multi-dimensional existence. So its existence is like 2 dimensions look flat, 3 dimensions look like small, but 4th it get bigger. When you go into the 5th, the earth look really huge, the land of the giant.
Then why do we see the stars if there's an ice wall up there?
What you see is not what you really see, because remember again, the earth live in multi-plane. Some part of the sky you look appear to be one way, some would be clear, but what you see, earth is like a multi-plane doorway to other version of itself. That's why some area the earth look different, the sky look different, and some area it look like brand new, some area look like empty, because the earth is not what you think. It's a non-localized planet. It's a living system. So that's why it changes all the time. The view, the perception changes all the time. That's why when you launch a ship, they have what we call a place you launch craft. Otherwise, you might enter the timeline. There's vortex everywhere. And that's what it is. So this is, I'd like everyone to support me in my books. Unimetric 1 AI Origin 2026 and Unimetric 1 second edition, and also my website www.baramay1.com. and please, this is the Super Soldier gun, and this is called the Orthodox, also known as the Quantum Consciousness Enhancement System. This will repair you, talk to you, and you can get one at at my website. Okay, and please thank you for support. Thank you everyone, and at the alien event, we thank you everybody. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Where did you find